Howdy folks, welcome back to Empyrion Academy. Today's lesson is in the hovercraft drilling and hovercraft drill turrets. And so we're going to take a look at both of those today. And so the first thing that you need to do is you need to put turrets and or drills onto your hovercraft, obviously. And the other thing that you need on your hovercraft for the drills is the harvest cargo box. And this also works with the harvester now. This is a new feature in Alpha 5.0. So whenever you get resources that are coming through from your drills or whatever, that's where they come in. Now the other thing that you want to do if you're going to use these drills is you want to look, when you build your ship, you want to put on extra RCSs. You want to make sure that your pitch over here is at least 3 degrees per second. That's going to be very helpful because when you're drilling, you do need to pitch the ship forward like this. And so the extra RCSs will help tremendously. And if you drive with the arrow keys, note that it's quite a bit slower. This is the arrow keys. And we'll go sideways here so you can see. This is with the arrow keys. It's like really not very good. And with the mouse, it's a lot quicker. So yeah, you just select your drills as usual and you fire. And so there's various ways to get into the ground. If you're working on a flat surface, the best way to get into the ground is to have plenty of RCSs and just point down and start drilling. Now the other thing you can do is you can use the shift key to lower your hover height to get your drills a little bit closer to the ground, like that. And another thing you can do is if you use your boosters, you can boost up into the air, and that will get your ship angled down to start out. And another trick that you can do if you need to is you can actually use your repair and remove tool, and you can either take off or add or removed the hover engines. So we'll take a look at that. We'll grab some hover engines here. And what you can do is, if you want, you can add in some hover engines, which will raise up the back end. Let's see, we'll get these raised up. And so now when we go into our hovercraft, it will naturally sit tilted forward like this, a little bit better. So you can do that, and then you can remove them with the remove tool when you're done drilling if you like, or you can just remove them before you drill once you get into the ground, like that. And if you're in creative mode, you can remove them like that anyway. And the raptors seem to want to be in the way. So the other trick with this is that you do a lot of tipping over. And so what you're going to want to do is use the O key and hold down the O key, which will help. Now the thing is, it will also fix your pitch so that you're not pitched forward anymore. And so that's where the higher hover engines in the back can help out, or having lower hover engines in the front, whichever way you want to look at it. But basically what you want to do in order to drill out a spot with these is you want to just kind of go around in a circle and kind of go down level by level. And there we go. And if you start tipping over too much, then you can use the O key to fix your leveling. And so I will show you quickly a dig out of this thing from an external view so that you can see how it works. While you're doing this, just keep in mind that it's going to be fiddly, it's going to be a little bit messy and bouncy and stuff, and you're not going to just sit perfectly level all the time and watch your drill do all the work. Just remember to adjust your hover height up and down a little bit here and there to see how it works best, and keep a finger near the O key because you'll probably be using a lot of that too. And remember, the shift key will flip you back over as well. Now the other tool that we have here that's new is the turret. So we'll check out the turrets here. Now you can place them on the top, and if you want to, what you can also do is you can place them on the side of your hovercraft. And so these work like a regular turret, And we'll get over here so that we can get close to our deposit and even get a little tipped over so that we can see a little bit better. And so you go into your control panel as usual and enter your drill turret. And this is not as fast as the actual drills on the front, but it does work fairly well, and it's also safer as far as not getting attacked by wildlife. And so that is the external drill. Now when you're done when you're done drilling, if you go into your control panel and check your harvest cargo box, you'll find all of the resources that you've gathered in there. Another way to get your hovercraft to angle downward is you can use your drill, and you can either manually drill in the front of it underneath your hovercraft, your hover engines. So as you see there, it's lowering, or you can fill over the back. There you go. You can fill underneath the back engines, and that will angle it down even further. And that's also another trick that you want to be aware of when you're digging. If you do get stuck and you can't get your hovercraft out for whatever reason, you can still get out. Make sure you bring your drill with you and some ammo for it, and you can get out and use your drill manually to fix the situation so that you can get your hovercraft back out. Another thing you might want to do with your fancy new hovercraft drills is drill a big tunnel or drill out a big hole for a base or that kind of thing. And so let's take a quick look at the tunneling features and how that's going to work. So you're still going to need to angle down a little bit in order to get into your areas, and you're also going to want to lower down your hover engines so that you're not so high off the ground. And the other thing you probably want to do is keep a hand on the O key so that you can stay level and then just press forward as you go. And if you do it this way, and you also don't build your hovercraft so it's horribly huge compared to the fronts of your drills, you should be able to dig a pretty decent tunnel like we're doing here. And you can dig your way through some pretty big areas. The only thing is that you might have to adjust your engine so that you don't pitch down or pitch up too far. But as you can see, the tunneling is actually fairly easy as long as you keep your controls adjusted fairly well. To dig these tunnels, I just held down the O and the W keys and went straight ahead. I kept the hover height at about 2.5 to 3 meters and turned a little bit with the mouse in order to make some curves. You can get this hovercraft and some other builds I've made on my Steam Workshop. The link is in the description. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's lesson. And don't forget, if you have problems going around it in your tunnels and stuff, that the O key is your friend. And you might even hold down the O key. I've asked to see if maybe they can put on a toggle, and who knows, maybe they'll add something like that, or even add one that only corrects your roll but not your pitch, which would be super handy. But until then, yes, the O key is your friend. And the other things you want to consider with your hovercraft design for drilling, specifically for drilling, is that you probably want it to be as short as you can get it, so that you can be mobile turning around and also have a better pitch control. And you do want it to stay somewhat wide. If you make it too narrow, you're going to have more tipping problems. So those are the main tips you need. And so I hope those will help you get out there and do some fun HV drilling and HV tunneling and mining and all that stuff. Join us for the next lesson, where we will cover small vessel construction, hopefully for real this time. Until then, enjoy your fancy new HV tools.